And welcome back. We are continuing with our segment on terrains, and in this video, we are going to go ahead and actually add in some vegetation. We're going to populate our terrain with some natural vegetation. In this case, trees and grass. First thing you want to do when it comes to getting trees is actually finding them from the asset store or making them yourself. Unity doesn't come with trees. You need to get those trees or make them yourself. So let's go over to the asset store now. And I already typed in trees. I already have free assets open. So let's just find some trees that we can use. I want like a collection of trees. I don't want just one kind of tree for my scene. We can try this tree collection pack that I saw earlier. Let's open her up and see what we got in there. What do we have? What does this look like? That's a nice collection of trees. Certainly look nice. Good images. Let's see. Unity, built-in renderer. This is something we're going to discuss in an extra video, by the way. These three render pipelines. That's a more complicated topic that we're going to discuss in an extra video. But for now, it's good that it's compatible with built-in. What do we have in here? What is the package content? Docs, materials, prefabs, good. We have prefabs, it's excellent to know. All right, yeah, we can take this. Let's add it to my assets, accept. Let's open in Unity. That should get our package manager, our tree collection. We can download that. Okay, quick cut. We should be all set. Let's jump back in. And let's see, there's my tree pack. I'm going to put that in the asset store folder. Organization. Give that a second. Excellent. Okay. Let's see what we actually got from there, shall we? Let's go to the tree pack. Let's go to my prefabs. What is 0? Oh, wow. Look at all these trees. Let's unlock that. Wonderful. Oh, look at that. They're using node-based workflow. That's interesting. That is very interesting. Not something we're going to be covering in this class in any great depth. At least not for modeling, and certainly not for trees, but very interesting. Very interesting. The trees look great. So what do we have here in set 1? Oh, it's a little shrub, little bush there. Set 2, what do we have? Some grass. Oh, hey, it comes with grass. That's nice. I won't even have to go looking to get more, like I thought I was going to. We can just use this. What's under 4 now? Let's jump to 4. We have some more trees. Okay, cool. So this is great. We have a whole bunch of wonderful assets we can play with here. Okay. Let's go to terrain. And let's now go to this fourth icon, this third icon, actually, the third icon, not the fourth. Paint trees. And under paint trees, we are going to find edit trees right here. We're going to add tree. And then we are going to select this button next to the prefab of tree prefab here. And we are going to select the tree prefab. Obviously, if you haven't brought in any trees from the asset store or haven't made your own trees, then the only things that we would have had here would have been Chivolo Guy and the Chivolo Guy demo level terrain. So make sure you find some stuff in the asset store, and we can go ahead and pick a nice tree and just lay it out. It doesn't really matter for demonstration purposes. I'll just pick the tree 6. That looks nice. And okay, so add. There's our tree. And now I imagine if I just paint right here, I can add a whole bunch of trees. A whole bunch of trees right there. Fascinating. As you can see, when you get far away from them, these trees seem to have a built-in... I wonder, do these trees have built-in LODs? Or do they not? Let's actually go into the asset store real quick. I'm going to check one thing about these trees. Let's go to all models. Oh, it's not there. Okay. All prefabs. Do these trees have built-in LODs? It seems like they do, because the further away we get from them, the less detail they seem to have. And the closer we get, the greater detail that seems to be seems to be added to them. So what am I talking about? LODs is something we're going to be talking about in a few weeks from now. It's not a topic you need to worry about for this particular week of instruction. LODs is essentially level of detail. You know, it's not really worth uh the strain on Unity or on your computer to have an asset be the same level of detail from close up as it is from very far away. Uh, it makes more sense to have more detail the closer you are to an asset, and the further away you are, the less detail there is. So LODs is just essentially high poly to low poly workflow where you create a high poly version of a model and then a low poly version of the model, and then you tell Unity to swap between the high poly version of the model and the low poly version of the model, depending on how far away from the camera uh, that particular model is. But that's something we're going to get into in more specifics in a few weeks. That's not something we need to worry about right now. For now, I just placed some trees. Nice. We can go ahead and erase them, same way we would erase anything we've sculpted previously. We just hold down Shift, and there they go. They're all gone now. We can add some more. There's a lot of trees there. We can play around with the with the settings. Specifically, we can play around with brush size, with the tree density is very important. That was a lot of trees we were placing there, so let's actually place less. That makes more sense to me. That's good. That's very nice. Wonder what mass place trees is. Let's place. Oh, cool. They just placed the trees across the entirety of the scene. That's very interesting. I mean, we don't need them for the entirety of the scene, so I'll just undo, but that's really, really cool. If we mass place and let's say we go, instead of 1,000, we go to, 200. What is that going to look like? And we don't need to keep existing trees because we don't have any. That's interesting. But yeah, we don't need to mass place trees. We can just play around with the tree density here and just place them like this around Chivolo guy as a little starting area. Like that makes more sense, I think, because I want to promote going in the opposite direction. No real rhyme or reason to where I'm putting the trees right now. I'm just placing them around just so you can see how it's done. Let's see, what can we do? Tree height. That's something good that we can play with. Let's go. Let's get some variation in the height here. Let's zoom in a little bit with the camera. Let's go over here. There we go. We can place trees that are really small and really large. That's interesting. Very nice. Lock the width to the height. I guess we can play around with the width too if we really wanted to make some weird trees. Let's see. Yeah, we can get some weirder, wider trees included as well. That's cool. Very nice. All right. Very nice. That's very nice. We can see the LOD. The further away we are from something, the less detail there is, and the closer we are, the more detail gets added in for our trees. Again, LODs is something we're going to be getting into more detail in as far as how to make them ourselves in another video in a few weeks. So don't worry about them too much for now. Just observe that with most of the tree assets you find in the asset store, LODs are probably going to be incorporated in some way. At least the good tree assets should have LODs incorporated in some way, so that the further away you are, the less detail there is, and the closer you are, the more detail there is going to be. We can play our scene. See our trees, they're way off in the distance, very uniform because, I mean, I only placed one type of tree so far. The trees should, oh, they don't have colliders, that's interesting. Very interesting. Cool. All right. Tree 6 is what I chose. 4, 5, 6. Very interesting that they don't have a collider. Well, nothing we can really do about it with this particular asset here. At least not right now. Later on, I could probably add a collider to these and and go forward from there. But for now, let's focus in on just adding terrain. So let's actually go ahead and go to edit trees. Let's go to add tree again. Let's add a different kind of tree now. I don't know. I already added tree 6. Let's add something like this. That in again, same options: brush size, tree density. Let's make something more dense here, and let's put them right there. Wow, look at that! From far away, they look real funny, but from close up, they look quite decent. Making sure that they align with the ground so that you don't see the bottom just sticking out. There we go. That makes more sense. Very interesting. Place some more trees like that. And that is the basics of just populating a scene with basic tree assets. Let's go ahead and actually add in our grass now, because trees are one thing, but grass is something else. Let's go ahead and add in that. We can do that not from paint trees, but rather paint details. In paint details, you want to go down to edit details, add grass texture. I believe it is detail texture right here. And now we can just hunt down the grass that was included with these assets. Oh, you know what? I guess it wasn't included with these assets. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and just find a better grass texture to use. So give me one moment. I'm gonna find some grass texture information. Okay, so I found and downloaded some grass from the asset store real quick. So let's go ahead and go to edit details. Again, we're still in paint details here. Going to edit details, adding grass texture. Let's go ahead and find that grass that I brought in. There we go, some grass with flowers. Let's just go with the basic grass for now. For our first layer, something important to note is that we get this healthy color and dry color here, so we can actually play around with the colors a little bit of the grass, because all we're doing is just feeding this paintbrush here texture information, image information, so we can actually play around with the image information just as we could when we were playing around with textures and materials last week. So just as we could with that, we can play around with the base color, but we're not really going to mess with it too much right now. Instead, we are just going to zoom in. I'm going to decrease the brush size. Not by that much. No, that's a decent amount. I'm going to add some grass. Again, LODs are in place, so from far away, you really can't see them, but from close up, that information starts coming in, and we get some grass. Target strength, let's go all the way to 1. That should give us something that's more full. If you get something that's too full, then, be sure to play around with the target strength and the opacity to reduce the amount of grass that you have. But for now, this is pretty good. Let's go ahead and just mass place it over a larger area here. So I'm going to put it through this whole area right here. And I'm going to play the scene so we can actually see our grass. There we go, it's swaying in the wind, very nice. And if you wanted to mess around with the color information that the grass had initially, but you decided not to initially, but you decided later on that you wanted to play around with the color information, you can just go back to edit details, edit, and here's your same grass brush, and here's your healthy color and your dry color. We can play around with this a little bit. We can make it maybe less saturated green or something interesting. And for a dry color, we can make it like a darker yellow, maybe. We can apply that. That should automatically apply to the grass that already exists, and any additional grass that we have in the future. But let's go crazy here. What if we make it like bluegrass? Or purple grass, or red grass like this, something crazier and more alien. And for the health and for the dry color, we can maybe make that blue or something. Again, really just amp up the crazy here and uniqueness. And we can play the scene, and suddenly everything feels just a little bit stranger, having Having the grass be all red and be all blood red like this with some dark blue. Cool. All right, that is how you can add grass. You can add more layers, so you can play around with how many how varied your grass is. I'm gonna add some flowers real quick. I'm not gonna play around with the color with the colors of the flowers in this case. Let's go over here, I guess. Why not? Add some flowers here. Oh, I'm still in the same grass texture. Why did it not apply? Let's add a grass texture. Let's go here. Let's add. There we go. And now, ideally, I can add flowers as well. Yes, there we go. Some flowers to go along with my weird alien red grass there. Very nice. Cool. All right. And again, just like with the trees, you can use various kinds of brushes, play with the size, the opacity, all that good stuff. All right. The last two things that I want to cover are skyboxes and basic playing around with the lighting. Skyboxes first. Let's go back to the asset store. Here's where I got my grass, by the way. It was this grass flowers pack free. Let's go to Skybox. Like with most things, you can find some decent stuff in the asset store for free. Do I want to go for a Starfield Skybox? Yeah, why not? We can go for a weirder, unique look here. And that doesn't look bad. Okay, fine. Let's add this to my assets. And we'll open in Unity, open the editor again, download the package. Okay, there we go. And we have the Starfield. I can put that into the asset store stuff there. Good. So with our Skybox now imported, let's go ahead and actually implement it. So to do that, very simply, we just go up to Window, we go down to Rendering, we go to Lighting. That should open up our lighting settings here. We go over to Rendering. We have this default Skybox material. We're going to change that. Here is the Skybox that we got from the asset store. We're going to go ahead and just double click to implement that, and we can close. And now you can see the lighting's changed a little bit, and we have this nice space background for our valley here. It doesn't make that much sense, but it's very nice. It's very interesting, I think, to have this crazy far out background for what was once a more grounded area. I guess the red plants now make sense because we're somewhere very different from where you would expect. All right, last thing I want to do real quick is the lighting. So back to Window, back to Rendering, back to Lighting again. In this case, we're going to go back into Environment. This time, we are going to play with Source of the lighting. And instead of the skybox itself, let's go ahead and actually pick color. And then we can play around with the actual lighting itself to give a color that maybe makes more or less sense depending on what you're looking for. Do I want something that feels hot? Do I want something that feels cold and maybe more alien? Do I want something weird like purple? You know, pick something that makes sense. Don't make it too saturated unless that's what you're looking for. I think this is kind of interesting, this purplish tint, considering what's happening. Not, you know, super bright saturated purple, but more like this, just a little hint of purple would be kind of interesting. Close that. We can exit out. We can play the scene. And there we go. Go up, explore our trees here. Take a look at the environment overall. Very interesting. Very interesting, very strange. Okay, so that is the basic gist of all the stuff that I wanted to show you in regards to the terrain editor for this week. There are going to be 2 extra videos that I show you. One of them is going to involve Unity's various render pipelines. You're going to find, especially for your terrain project, that as you bring in assets from the asset store, some of them are only compatible with certain render pipelines. So we're going to have an extra video that very briefly discusses the other render pipelines, I should say, how to swap between them, and why you would want to or not want to, as the case may be. And after that, there is going to be another extra video where I discuss skyboxes in greater depth, specifically not just bringing them in from the asset store, but how to make your own in Photoshop relatively quickly using templates that you download from the asset store. And by templates, I mean just some random skybox that you like and you want to make your own out of it. I'm going to show you how to do that in Photoshop relatively quickly, if interested. Oh, and additionally, that video about the render pipelines that I'm going to be making, not only am I going to be discussing the two other render pipelines that Unity uses, but I'm also going to talk about water for your terrain. Water isn't going to be required for your terrain assignment, but if you wanted to add some, there is some stuff you need to know regarding Unity, regarding new versions of Unity, and certain assets that involve the render pipeline, but also how to create your own with the Unity settings. That's something we're going to get into in an extra video, though, because that's more complicated, more recent stuff that's come up with regards to Unity. So I'm going to cover that in another video. For now, though, this is all the basic stuff this is all the basic stuff for how to generate and populate your own terrain. So I hope you enjoy it. I hope this helps. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.